Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the stream. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back. Welcome. What is going on this wonderful February 8th, 2007? How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're doing as well as I am because apparently here in New York, we're about to get hit with the biggest snowstorm of 2017. So, everybody living in the Northeast or New York, prepare your butts because it is going to really come down on us. Welcome everybody to the stream. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves and had a good weekend. I actually had a pretty nice, chill weekend. Chelsea and I went to go celebrate the Chinese New Year with down in Chinatown. We saw the Chinese New Year parade. Which was kind of cool, seeing some of the culture and having confetti cannons fired at us from all sorts of directions, including above. But it was all sorts of fun. Also, we had a wonderful time watching this year's Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, apparently, Hey Siri is on my phone, and me yelling the Patriots and Falcons, it gave me the final score. We're not going to talk about that stuff because why? You know, I call myself the new nerd in town, not the sports nerd. But for all Patriots fans out there, congratulations on yet another Vince Lombardi trophy. And to all the other NFL fans, we'll try again next year. How about that? No, but what we're gonna talk, we are gonna talk about the Super Bowl, but not necessarily the sports aspect of the Super Bowl. No. We're gonna talk about the other things that people watch for the Super Bowl. And why don't we start it off with like the movie trailers? How about that? The movie trailers were quite movie and TV trailers. I should say that. Movie and TV trailers was quite abundant on Sunday. They were out in full force. We had some great commercials, great trailers for TV shows, movies, and video games. So we'll dive into all of them. We're gonna start off with the trailers. I was thinking of doing like my like best to worst or worst to best trailers that I saw. I'm also not going to be talking about really anything. Like I'm not going to try to go to every single trailer that was shown, be it movie or TV shows, because that would just be ridiculous. I mean, you know, I only do this in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So, you know, to try to go through every single one and talk about it, it's a little beyond me. Plus, some of them are already came out or are coming out this upcoming weekend. So, you know, people already, their minds are set about going to see it. I'm going to talk about the ones that we've probably been talking about the whole time, and the ones that are like pretty much the most exciting. So why don't we start off with Fate of the Furious, Fast 8, the 8th installment in the Fast and Furious Fast and Furious thing. No, I have not watched the 50 Shades, and we will not be talking about that. Nice try, Sea Otter. I see what you're doing there. But Fate of the Furious, it's a hard one to. It's going to be a hard one to watch because Paul Walker, unfortunately, is not in it because of his untimely death during the taping of Fast 7. And I kind of got a feeling that we're going to see something that makes Vin Diesel's Dom. You know, obviously he's the antagonist of this movie. So Paul Walker's character did not die at the end of Fast 7. His character kind of whatchamacallit, his character kind of like whisked off into the sunset, if I remember correctly. But he was just, that's it. I can't do this anymore. And I mean, the real reason. Good lord. It's only like 5 minutes into this and I'm already yawning. The only real reason why, why we're not going to see Paul Walker anymore is because he's no longer with us in real life. So, are they going to really kind of show Dom turn into this antagonist thing? What is Charlize Theron's tactic to get Dom from the family man that we know and love to basically just the straight out of the bad neighborhood wrench wielding man that we met in the Fast and the Furious? It's going to be interesting. Also, unlikely pairing to help bring Dom down between The Rock and Jason Statham. So the two characters that have always been up against each other in the past couple of movies are now going to team up in one of those like very unlikely, we don't want to be we don't want to be bad, but we don't want to work together, but we have to because we have a similar type of a similar endpoint to get to. I mean, I don't really know how much I'll buy it. This is one of those movies where, a lot of people are like, oh, but the production's bad or something like that. They just don't care anymore. They're going to do whatever they need to do. I think the big stunt for this one was having a submarine pop out of ice underneath cars as cars are like driving on the ice, a la like one of the Bond movies that came out. I think it was The World Is Not Enough. Yeah, it was like The World Is Not Enough or one of those where Pierce Brosnan is in the ice hotel or something like that. They've driving cars ridiculously fast on a glacier. I mean, it looks like it'll be that. We don't know. I mean, that's what it looks like. Not too sure, but it looks like it'll be a typical Fast and the Furious movie. The only problem is they're going up against one of their own. So it's definitely going to have that whole plot of, well, he knows all our tricks because he made all our tricks. And you're kind of sitting there like, all right, well, clearly, this is going to be like playing ping pong with yourself. You know how you're going to, what your crazy moves are. There's really no where to go or anything like that. How should I say? So about Friday, Saturday last week, a lot of the production companies and distributing companies, they released like little teasers for the actual Super Bowl spots that they were going to release on Super Bowl Sunday. Some others were just saying, yeah, we're going to have some trailers there. Just watch out. We'll have about 2 or 3. One of the latter companies, Disney, said that they were going to definitely have just about 2 trailers come out for upcoming movies for the 2017 year. And unfortunately, we knew they said right away that nothing from Star Wars was coming out. Lucasfilm is not part of it. And they're not going to be too Marvel or just too Disney. They were going to mix it up a little bit. And one of the trailers we did get to see on Super Bowl Sunday was for Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which first off is the best title that they've ever had, because that's my personal favorite. And if you've never been to Disney World or Disneyland or wherever they have good lord, wherever they have a Pirates of the Caribbean ride, if you've ever been on that ride, you know that when you hear Dead Men Tell No Tales, that's when you're going down. You are just taking the plunge into the world of of Pirates of the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff. And they've updated the ride since, you know, a couple times, and now it's got Jack Sparrow and all that kind of stuff. But I still love it. I think it's one of the better rides that Disney has. Really shows off the animatronics that they have at the parks, and it's a fan favorite. All four movies of Pirates of the Caribbean it's one of my favorite series from Disney. The fourth one did fall off a little bit, but that's just because it really was just all about Jack Sparrow. And going from an ensemble cast with Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, and then just basically they weren't in it anymore, so now you have to you just do a new film just by yourself and stuff. It's a little difficult. They pulled it off. They're doing a fifth one, and as a surprise, we did get to see a small glimpse, I wish I could get the screenshot, but like a very, very small glimpse of Will Turner. Orlando Bloom's Will Turner returns to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Now, the last we saw, he took over the role of Davy Jones. So he was in charge of Davy Jones' ship, and his main lot in life now was he was to remain on the seas for 10 years, helping bring the souls of dead sailors to and from the underworld. And every 10 years, he would get 1 day on dry land. So he used his first day right away to consummate his marriage with Keira Knightley. And then we see like a fast forward of 10 years later, he comes back, and you see the kid running over to the cliff to see that the ship is coming out of the water. And that was how they explained the ending of their story. That every 10 years, he's just going to keep coming back. He's just going to keep coming back. Well, based off the trailer we saw Sunday, it looks like Will Turner decided to break the rules of Davy Jones, or Callista, the sea goddess who first placed the rules on Davy Jones, thus turning him into the octopus-faced man we saw in the Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, or just 2? 2 and 3. So Will starts to get a little bit of coral coming on his face, so it looks like Will has seen what Davy Jones saw and decides to break the code, and thus starts turning into a seafaring creature. I mean, is Will gonna work for the dead sailors that we see? We see that the dead sailors are pretty much showing no mercy on anyone who's alive, and we did see a lot of Captain Barbossa, still with the Royal Navy. His ships are being torn apart by these dead sailors that, and we hear a line being said that the dead rule the seas. So clearly, the dead are ruling the seas. And Jack Sparrow is the key to saving or destroying, or is the key to all problems, and thus will make some stupid grand gesture, and thus saving everybody, mistakenly saving everybody. So again, it's a great return. The franchise is killing it. Again, the fourth installment, I think they could have done a little bit better with the captain, with Blackbeard, but again, having those notoriety of the actors and actresses, Selma Hayek, playing in it, you're running into those things where you have to make certain characters a little bit more, a little, push it a little in your face, more than like a Blackbeard, whose character name, whose pirate personality is a bit more famous than that of his daughter. So I'm truly excited to see how that is. I might, just for the heck of it, for this snow day tomorrow, maybe I'll start watching Pirates 1, 2, 3, and 4 again and get myself hyped up for 5. Another trailer that came out was the third and final installment, final performance ever. Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine in Logan, the highly anticipated second rated R comic book movie. Is coming out March 3rd. And we got to see some more footage. It wasn't as long as the other trailers were, but we got to see, some more footage of Logan, Professor Charles Xavier, played by Sir Patrick Stewart, and X-23. So we're getting we're definitely getting pieces, collected of everything coming together. It looks as though Charles is a huge part of this. I mean, Charles has always been a part of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine for all of the X-Men movies. It's just the two films, the Origins, and then, I really can't speak for the second Wolverine movie, but for Origins, he wasn't in it. But for all of the X-Men movies that have been coming out, the Bryan Singer ones and the ones prior to that, Charles has always been a major character, a major influence in Logan / Wolverine's personality. Whether or not he's telling him to do something good or do something bad, or telling him to follow his feelings or not, or he's the voice of reason. He's kind of like the angel and the devil on Wolverine's shoulders. I mean, he plays both parts when he needs to. So it's good to see that for this final film, the two of them are coming together to, I guess, it looks like it's going to go full circle, where all the teachings that Professor X gave Logan is going to somehow pay off, and you'll start to see the evolution of student to teacher as Wolverine tries to protect and maybe teach X-23. Now, I'm saying all this stuff based on all the trailers I've watched so far. None of this is because I've read any of the comics. It's pretty killer to see all that. And if you guys are looking in chat right now, let's see if I can get this up. Sea Otter just posted a picture of what could possibly be in and that's always a good thing to have that come. So what's his face? Sea Otter just posted this picture in this is what Sea Otter posted. So this could possibly be in this right here could possibly be in Logan, which is Wolverine's it's Wolverine's signature costume. I mean, worn in the cartoon, worn in the comics for ever. And a lot of these movies that are coming out, they don't have him wearing that. But this is the first time we've seen it in a real human form. So it should be pretty awesome. I mean, that looks pretty cool, right? I mean, so switching on to Logan, I'm going to go into a guilty pleasure of mine, and I'm actually pretty excited and pretty, what can I say? Pretty, secretly excited for this one, and that's the Transformers 5, The Last Night. Now, the end of Transformers 4, which I forget what the title was for it, the first one with Marky Mark, Optimus Prime leaves Earth to go, hey Daff, how are you? Leaves Earth to uh, go find out who his makers are and have a word with them because they just want to destroy Earth. It's not just the world's largest and most expensive car commercial, it's the world's largest and most expensive commercial ever. Because if like the product placement in the last Transformers alone, the scene where Mark Wahlberg opens a beer bottle, a Bud Light bottle on the guy's car, the Victoria's Secret bus that just happens to stop right where Bumblebee is being thrown into, the in the first one, the Mountain Dew bottle that was shooting at people, soda dispenser that was shooting at people, the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One console that started killing people. Yeah, it's a huge product placement, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine because for some reason watching stuff blow up is my cup of tea. But Mark Wahlberg returns, and we get to see the return of Captain Badass himself, Josh Duhamel, returns, who's now in a reportedly now in a role where he's against all Transformers, not just the Decepticons. He's against Autobots and Decepticons. So anyone who's a Transformer, Josh Duhamel is hunting you down, which you don't want because he kind of knows you guys. And Mark Wahlberg is now in like the Rebel Alliance or the Resistance from the new Star Wars, with the Autobots trying to defend them and trying to make sure that they don't get killed in the crossfire. But again, at the end of Transformers 4, Optimus flies out into space looking for their creators, the creators of Cybertron, just so that he can have a word with them. Ask them, why do they keep attacking Earth? Why did you want to harvest Earth with all these powers and stuff like that? So it looks as though he's frozen in space at some point. So maybe he just doesn't make it on his journey, or he just drains out of power and just goes into sleep mode or something like that. I don't know if necessarily, and of course the big scenes that people are talking about with these trailers, however, it looks as though Optimus and Bumblebee have a huge, like, it looks like a huge fight, which will probably be one of the bigger ones, at the end of the movie or something like that. And of course, Optimus is winning because he is one of these knights of he's a prime, which means that he's better than everyone else pretty much. But I'm not really convinced that Optimus Prime goes bad. I have a feeling that Megatron or whatever being he became in Gavatron. I mean, you could comment on the new stuff, Daff. It's always welcome. The Gavatron, said he would be back, and I have a feeling that something like manipulation is either gotten into. Crit Camp, thank you so much for the host. Thank you. 66. Thank you. Crit Camp is around and he's hosting. It's I don't know if Bumblebee's bad or if Optimus Prime is trying to do something where he wants to destroy the world, or his creator said something that was like, I don't know, that it's all speculation right now. But from what we've seen, it looks like Optimus is going up against Bumblebee, the two main Transformers, the two main Autobots that have always been together and have always fought side by side are now fighting each other. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But I probably won't see that in theaters. I'll probably just watch it, comfort of my own. But it is a guilty pleasure of mine, and yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to see it. Um, Another trailer that came out that was really talked about that I have no sort of background information on at all was Ghost in the Shell. It looked pretty interesting. I when I was researching some stuff about it, it's like a western based off of Japanese manga. So and Scarlett Johansson wears a bodysuit where she's nearly nude, which I'm okay with. So anything with Scarlett Johansson, she's been rocking out as Black Widow, and some of her other earlier performances have been pretty awesome. Power Rangers, I mean, the trailer came out last week, but there was really nothing from Super Bowl that came out. Um, People who have seen Ghost in the Shell and seen the trailers that know the actual background of it have said that the movie does a pretty good job of fitting in with everything, and Daft just said, yeah. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Or Ghost in the Shell or something, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Um, Now, the most talked about movie trailer from Super Bowl Sunday was Disney's second release of the night, and you know it looked pretty funny, and I for one am so excited to see this movie. um Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's right, the quote unquote a-holes of space are back to cause some trouble in the sake of saving the world. Um, Everybody said this was one of the best trailers of the night. This movie just with every piece of video that I see, I am super stoked for this movie to come out. I mean, the cast is just so tight. David Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel just being Groot, Zoe Saldana, and of course, Chris. I said Chris Pratt, right? As Star Lord. Now it's James Gunn, the director of both the first one and the second one. Um, uh, they came out with um a quick interview in which he said he and Bob Iger were saying that for this film they wanted to change around the relationship between Rocket Raccoon and Groot, Bradley Cooper's part and Vin Diesel's part. And in the first movie, in Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot was sort of the protector of Rocket Raccoon. He was stronger, bigger, physically, and maybe not the smartest, but he was there to protect his little buddy. Whereas this one, after Groot was, selflessly sacrificed himself, which I'm pretty sure is the same thing. So he sacrificed himself to help, to help his friends and all that kind of stuff. And now it's the other way around. Now that he's just he's baby Groot. He's about this, maybe this big. The roles have changed where Rocket Raccoon is now Groot's protector, and they did that on purpose to kind of show that yes, this relationship goes two ways. Yondu looks like he does become a good guy, or he at least becomes he joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it looks like he has no choice. But like, I don't know, he kind of stumbles into he stumbles into being part of the group. Yeah, people have been saying in the comics that he's in it, so, but it looks like, as far as for the sake of the movie, he stumbles into it because there's a part where Groot welcomes him so wordfully into the Guardians of the Galaxy. So uh, it'll be great to see his interaction with them because not just him not liking Star-Lord, Peter Quill all that much, but him just regular interacting with them should be hilarious. We're also going to see Peter Quill's dad, played by Kurt Russell. Um, and unfortunately, for those who wanted a direct dive from this movie to Infinity War, apparently this will not directly set up Infinity War. It'll help. It'll help because it is part of the line, but it is not going to really put in a straightforward right into Infinity War. I have to watch Magnificent Seven. I haven't. That's like the one Chris Pratt movie I wanted to see that I haven't. And you finally saw Suicide Squad. Great. Your time from when the movie goes to DVD to you actually seeing it is shrinking because you saw Force Awakens this past December, right? When Rogue One came out. So by the time Episode 9 comes out, you'll see Rogue One, and then Han Solo and all that kind of stuff. You'll probably see all that stuff. Chris is making waves, guys. He's making headway. So those were all the movie trailers that came out. Now, TV trailers and game trailers came out as well. Most notably for the game trailers, my favorite set of commercials was World of Tanks, where it was your regular like, the fun music where it's do 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 do, and it's like a nice calming meadow and all that kind of wonderful loving stuff that people dream of, and then it's just a tank running through it, and it was perfect because it's World of Tanks. So not because it's a tank, but just because it's just boom. And then they had like another one where it was like Real Housewives of something, and then you just see the tank coming through the house, and it was just funny. So the World of Tanks came out. The big trailer for the night for video games was Nintendo's Switch. Still on the fence about it, but leaning more towards no. Only because it's just, here some of the specifics of the Switch are just not living up to it. A native 720p game when right now everybody else is rocking the 1080. Not really feeling it with all that kind of stuff. But I guess we'll see. To each his own with it. I'm not saying like, it looks like a terrible, the concept of it looks amazing. A video game that a video game console that you could take. So basically your PSP and your PlayStation 4 being able to work together enough so that you could be playing the same game no matter where you're going. But it just does not look like it will hold up. Like, I want to be able to play it. From when I leave my apartment, go to the subway, pick up the game in the subway, and then when I get to work, be able to pick it up a little bit. I don't know if, will the battery hold that long? Do I have to make sure it's in the dock overnight to charge it or something like that? There's a couple of things with that, and also the lineup is reported to have a lot of people a little scared about it. Nintendo has been known to just stay very niche to their developers and their game development, it's could get a little daunting, or a little boring, being that it's mostly the same games and stuff like that. So I might, I might pass on it. Who knows? Who knows? Um, I'd rather see Sony or Microsoft come out with their stuff because they speak to more of the type of gaming that I enjoy and the type of games that I enjoy. Hearing today that Fallout or it was another like AAA game um, was not going to come to Nintendo because of the Switch, or not because of the Switch, but not come to Nintendo for the Switch to help things out. And I mean, I don't know if it's a coding thing. I don't know what the behind the scenes talks were, but it's disheartening when certain video game studios are like, we're not going to come out stuff for that one. It's you know, again, if it's a different coding issue, then yeah. Resident Evil 7, that's what it was. But yeah, so those were the video game um release trailers that they came out with. Again, the Switch looks like as a concept, it's very ambitious because um uh here you have something that every gamer basically wants in life is to be able to play their game, and then when they have to be dragged off to go to work or dragged off to go, travel to go see parents or relatives, or they have a long trip to go see loved ones, or I'm going away on vacation. I'd love to play Zelda or whatever, you know, on the plane. I think that's amazing, and then be able to come back home and just pop it in and it's all set to go. Yes, Final Fantasy 15, that was the one I saw today. Yes, thank you, Daph. It's a little disheartening to see that this this system might fall flat on its face. I really don't want it to. The concept is amazing. It's innovative. It's taking some of the best features from from some of the other companies and really bringing it together. I just don't know if it's going to be executed as well. Um, well, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 has come out already, and people have already played it. If the Switch was coming out around the same time as Final Fantasy 15, I think that would have been more of a stink. But I did see a couple of articles where like, this is not real, like more bad news for the 15. I know they have a lot of DLC. So now on to the TV. There's two of them that I wanted to talk about. First one was um, an interesting one that really didn't know much about, and I still don't know much about it, but it looks interesting to at least, I don't know, check out a little bit. It's on Hulu, so that, kind of, um, it might put a damper on things because I don't have a Hulu account yet. But it was The Handmaiden's Tale with Elizabeth Moss and Alexis Bledel from Gilmore Girls. Elizabeth Moss was from Mad Men. I think it's the best way that it was described to me. It's the tale of women who are bound to a man to bear their children, even if the man is married or something like that. So it's sort of interesting subject, I would say. But the trailers looked pretty decent. From the Super Bowl spots looked pretty darn decent. So I was, it caught my attention a little bit. And it, is something of note. It looked good, and with all these streaming services coming out with their own new with their own content of shows, it was cool to see another one other than Netflix and Amazon release, get a Super Bowl spot. So congrats to Hulu for doing that. Now, speaking of streaming services and epic trailer releases, we got a glimpse on Friday of a picture from Stranger Things Season 2. That's right, the boys are back. And this time, the whole town is upside down. Um, the epic trailer for Stranger Things 2 was released at Super Bowl. Um, and it was like reliving the 80s all over again. Just the same way that we relived the 80s watching the show. Um, I just loved watching this trailer. I watched it a couple times, and I cannot wait for this movie to come back, for this series to come back. And I'm not alone in that boat. I am not alone in that boat at all. Um, these kids, super talented. The writers, directors, everyone. Just it. I mean, if there was any epic trailer that could beat Guardians of the Galaxy, it was definitely Stranger Things. And again, it looks like the entire town might be facing what was going on in one. So, I'm, I have no words, but please, can it be Halloween tomorrow? Because I want to watch the entire series. Um, we got to see the kids dressed up as Ghostbusters. Got to see an ominous creature in the background with like lightning, kind of like the first time you see the creature in Cloverfield, in J.J. Abrams' Cloverfield. There were explosions and lightning behind the creature, and you saw the silhouette of it. And it was just so cool to see, like, they had the Eggos commercial upside down, and different 80s commercials and stuff, like, all flipped around, because that's what it is. That's what this is, that's what this show is all about. And it was just so epic, and it was, like, kind of took you away from all this, like, these cool special effects with the in these new movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, or dare I say Pirates of the Caribbean, bringing the dead crew alive and all that kind of stuff, and Transformers and whatnot. Yeah, it's like amazing to see all this kind of stuff. So definitely check out Fire Pixie 2000. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the new nerd in town. And yes, there were references to Stay Puft and the Ghostbusters. And the kids were wearing epic Ghostbusters costumes, which you could tell, like, their parents slaved over some workshop bench to put it together, because I don't know, like, I but Stranger Things Season 2 comes out this Halloween 2017. We will be talking about Stranger Things Season 1 when we get closer to it, so be sure to check out here. Follow me on Twitter. You'll see my social media pop up here. Follow me on Twitter. Go check out my the whatchamacallit, older videos on YouTube, podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, all over the place. Go check that stuff out. If you're not, if you're new to the content and whatnot, I try to get everything out. So yeah. 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 So next up, so the trailers were pretty epic. I mean, it was a little sad to see that there was no Star Wars Last Jedi. Or we didn't get to see any footage from Spider-Man Homecoming, but it's okay. There's time. And Kathleen Kennedy has come out and said that she will we'll see first footage of Star Wars in sometime in spring, which means we're probably going to see the first footage of Last Jedi in Star Wars Celebration in April. That's what the rumor mill is saying. And uh, right now they're working on a behind the scenes footage thing. They've released those right now for both for Rogue One and Episode 7. If you remember what they released at San Diego Comic-Con for Rogue One, it was all behind the scenes footage mixed in with some footage from the actual movies or some footage that was on the cutting room floor. Thank you, Rogue One. But that's, Last Jedi will most likely first be seen at Star Wars Celebration, and so we'll be on the lookout for that. Now,